right now. All right, let's start with the Lakers and the Knicks. Brunson, LeBron getting some love from Carmelo Anthony. Here we go, kick it off in the third quarter. Doncic, the kick ahead to Smart, feeds James for the stuff.
Young legs there.
His face was kind of at the rim there, George.
Yeah, he still can jump. OG Anunoby with the three there, 3 of his 25 points. Next play, Luka with a little spin move there on Landry Shamet.
That was light on his feet.
Yeah, and then pointing at Spike. 2 minutes later, James with the float game.
Wow.
By the way, LeBron named to his 22nd straight All-Star appearance. Here's Jalen Brunson finding a wide-open Landry Shamet for 3. This will be a theme.
Shamet hasn't missed in a week.
Yeah. Now Brunson gets in the act, 3 of his 12. Following play, here's LeBron with the step back. 3-point party continues. Neither team can miss. Then after that, Brunson, he's going to find Anunoby in the corner for 3. Under 2 minutes left in the fourth. Josh Hart is going to take one from the top of the key. He misses. Mitchell Robinson, his third offensive rebound, kicks it to Shamet to the corner. Yep, another 3. And then Shamet one more time for the dagger. Knicks go on to win 112-100. Here's LeBron on his potential last game at MSG and his All-Star appearance.
It's the mecca of basketball here in New York City. Obviously, it's the Big Apple, being here at MSG, playing here. I hope I have like a little small snippet, somebody that came through here was able to make a little small dent, from a business perspective. Well, I'm still playing at this, latter stage of my career, and to be able to be an All-Star, that means a lot to, my family, my people that's been following my career, when I'm faithful, has been following my journey.
All right, welcome into NBA Today. George Sedano in for Malika Andrews. We're here with Brian Windhorst, the host of the Hoop Collective podcast, and, of course, Bobby Marks, our NBA front office insider. Wendy, we'll start with you. A nostalgic last couple of days for LeBron. So he's visited Cleveland, now New York. What has this week told you about kind of where he is right now?
He doesn't know, I don't think. I think he acknowledges that this could be it. He wouldn't have gotten emotional in Cleveland if he didn't think there was a possibility that would be it. He had comments about this game last night, like sitting there. One of the things you've seen repeatedly this whole season is you've seen him take in moments like this. Even like when he's been in places like New Orleans, he's made comments about that. But when you watch him play and you watch him jump and get his, chin up by the rim and have these 25-point, 30-point games, you also can say, well, how can this guy say that he's done? And the truth is he's not going to know until what his body says at the end of the season.
Well, and I think when you look at all-time great players, whether it be basketball or football or baseball, there's always an ending, right? Like the guy who used to hit 300 is now hitting 200 in baseball. This guy is he's an all-star. He was selected to be on the all-star team. He plays like an all-NBA player most of the time here. And if it's not the end, it's going to make into a very interesting summer coming up here.
Yeah, listen, I am going to be curious to see where he potentially ends up, if he stays with the Lakers, if he retires, if he goes somewhere else. So we'll see. But let's flip to the Knicks side of the equation here. They've got a nice little win streak going on here. They've won 6 in a row now, tied for the longest streak this season. And they've been turning things around because they had lost 9 of their previous 11. So let me ask you this. What have the Knicks found during their win streak, Brian?
I think it starts with defense. I know this is a team that was sort of built around their offense. That's what Mike Brown sort of came in to do. But their defense in this stretch. Now, it started off by them holding the Nets to 66 points. So when you look at the numbers, it's like, wow, they're holding these teams to like 90. Well, the Nets contributed to that.
Skewed that a little bit.
But they've held, I think, 3 of the 6 opponents to under 100. The Lakers, who are, frankly, a strong offensive team when they've got their full lineup, and I know Austin Reeves is out, but still, they had a pretty healthy lineup yesterday, and they were barely able to crack 100. So, really, if you look at the way the team was structured to have 2 very strong wing players in Anunoby and Bridges. They're playing well right now. They've got Josh Hart running around all over the place. Karl Towns was just named an all-star for all of the stuff he's had to deal with and the fact that he's some games are going to look better than others. The coaches said he was an all-star. He was plus 23 yesterday. It was a vitally important part of that game. He has had 2 20-rebound games in the stretch. The Knicks have a lot going for them. They are not a perfect team. They will not be a perfect team. But this team, they've spent years putting this group together, and you see that pay off in stretches like this.
Well, and I think we saw in the fourth quarter the physicality. The ability to stretch this game, loose second chance points, offensive rebounds by Mitchell Robinson here. And I think it's going to lead up to what's going to happen this week with the trade deadline here. Here's a New York team that's 148,000 below the second apron here. Can they move off a player like Gershon Yabusele, who has been out of the rotation, and pick up some more depth? The one thing I would keep an eye on, and we've said all along when we're talking about Giannis, Knicks don't have a first-round pick. What they do have, they have a Washington Wizards second-round pick, which is basically an extension of the first round. So I would keep an eye on the Knicks later in this week as far as with that Yabusele. How do you get another player and get below that you can sign a player once we get into this buyout period?
All right, let's welcome in NBA champion Iman Shumpert. Are we finding rookies for being lazy? What's up? Good to see you.
No, man. I'm, in between some stuff, doing some things, and just, LA traffic.
I feel you. Yeah. All right, let's get to the Thunder and what they did to the Denver Nuggets yesterday. That thing got interesting real quick, and by interesting, I mean not good for Denver. But Thunder taking on the Nuggets here. Jokic finds Peyton Watson for the dunk. I mean, what a pocket pass.
Hey!
What a finish.
Hey!
And one.
Come on, Jack. No, that's a good play.
All right.
Good play. We don't let that go.
Now here's Joker to the corner to Spencer Jones.
Did you see this pass?
He was just a little sloppy. I'm used to that hitting the hands. Precisely.
But SGA goes to work here.
Jesus.
He pulls up. Shump. SGA feels like he can get to his spot anytime.
Yeah, and the thing is, we know it's coming. You know the counter that's coming, but his guys looked out for him yesterday and made sure they hit shots. They hit all the threes he needed them to keep him in single coverage, so that was great.
And then SGA starts to get his teammates involved here, Brian. He knows exactly where those guys are.
Yeah, the Nuggets' game plan here was to really, even more than normal, camp in the middle. There were some times when there were 4 or 5 Nuggets in the middle, and he just found his shooters, and they made him pay.
Exactly.
13 assists yesterday for SGA. 10 of them were on three-pointers. But then SGA, it was time for him to take over again. And here he is with this little trick shot. Takes the bump from Hardaway and gets the basket to fall. And then, after we see it again, because it was so nice we had to see it twice, gets to his patented jumper from the elbow. There's the dagger. So, Thunder win by 10. What did they show you in that one?
I think it just showed us that they're going to be consistent as far as what they're going to give us in the playoffs. What we saw last year, we're going to see a lot of that same approach. Can we get my guy, SGA, to the end of the game where he has weapons on the outside, but then we can get him in ISO to play ISO ball? And can another team go point for point with him down the stretch? I don't know. He can get to the free throw line. He can get to a floater. He can get to a step back. He plays in space, and he's a willing passer. If he can make decisions for this team down the stretch and stay healthy, this is a hard team to beat, and we wanted to see this matchup. I know Jokic had a little time off, but when I see this, I see OKC Thunder saying, hey, we are the defending champions, and we have a certain brand of basketball that you guys have to figure out how to beat. Right now, they can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're the best team, clearly, Brian, but the Nuggets are still dealing with a lot of injuries on their roster, particularly to Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, so I think seeing Jokic come back and play really well on Friday, you just assumed he'd be ready to go. But I think you saw the effects of the layoff yesterday. He had 6 turnovers. That just doesn't happen. He had like as many turnovers as baskets. There is some hope that before now in the All-Star break that they could get Christian Braun and Cam Johnson back. They are about to go out east. And, look, they just were off this game. That was a nice play by Chet. Jamal Murray made the All-Star team, which was a great day for him, but he was just 4-12. They play in New York. We just talked about how well the Knicks are, how hot the Knicks are running. They play in New York on Wednesday night at the Garden. I'm looking forward to see how that plays out.
I just thought it was a playoff atmosphere, game 1, second round type series. Maybe this will be a Western Conference Finals here. What Oklahoma City was able to do with Cason Wallace and Lou Dort, the ability to make shots and shoot threes. I looked at the numbers. In the games they've won, they're 23rd in the NBA in three-point percentage. That is not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is not shooting threes here. But there was a stretch in the second quarter, and then there was a stretch in the third quarter with Wallace making, I think he made like 4 or 5 threes in a row here. That separated the game here. And this is a Thunder team without Jalen Williams, without Alex Caruso. They're still injured as far as with this group here. I don't want to say a statement win on the road, but considering how they had been playing, it's a big win for them on February 1st.
All right, well, coast-to-coast trip around the NBA, starting with a dominant performance by the Pistons, beating the Nets by a franchise record 53 points. Bobby, does this Pistons team have any gaps to fill before the deadline?
Well, for watching this game, no. And there was no running clock in this game either here. I think if you can add some perimeter shooting and another ball handler to this group without disrupting your core, I think that's something Detroit should certainly look at.
All right, next up, let's go to the Spurs. They overcame weather delays, mechanical issues, and the Orlando Magic this weekend. Wendy, how long of a day was this for Victor and the Spurs?
Hey. What did the Spurs and Bobby have in common yesterday? They both changed planes in Atlanta. That's right. They literally had to change planes in Atlanta like so many of the rest of you. But what I liked about this, they didn't complain. They got up by 15 in the first quarter despite having a rest disadvantage. And Victor had 15 free throws and 4 threes. Not every night, but that is a golden ratio you're going to have trouble beating.
All right, next, Jarrett Allen and the Cavs with a 40-point, 17-rebound game as Cleveland defeated Portland. Shump, how much ethical basketball was in Allen's performance?
Hey, man, listen, you want a high field goal percentage, go holler at Jarrett Allen. He made sure that everything he did was at the rim. He set for the pick and roll. He finished around the cup, and he made sure there was dunks. Plenty of them. No crazy highlights, but plenty of them.
There you go. Finish at the rim, man.
My boy, Ja.
Finally, Joel Embiid dropped 40 as the Sixers defeated the Pels. Embiid has played in 14 of the Sixers' 17 games in January, averaging nearly 30 points a game. Wendy, is he back?
Tell you what, he has been so impressive. Now, they begin a West Coast trip this week. Tonight at the Clippers. They can keep it up through this. They're going to really be in good shape.
We have a developing story that broke over the weekend. A 25-game suspension of Paul George for violating the NBA's anti-drug program. The league announced the suspension on Saturday, but did not disclose the substance involved. The suspension will cost him approximately $12 million of his salary. George has averaged 16 points in 27 games this season. George said, in part, quote, "Over the past few years, I've discussed the importance of mental health, and in the course of recently seeking treatment for an issue of my own, I made the mistake of taking an improper medication. I take full responsibility for my actions and apologize to the Sixers organization, my teammates, and Philly fans for my poor decision-making during this process." So, Shump, what's your reaction to Paul George?
I think the only thing we could take from this is to make sure that we talk to the younger basketball players out there and let them know that as you go through this, I feel like the biggest error of this is how long Paul George has been in the league, and he's done an outstanding job. And he knows that if he takes any medication, especially if outside the team doctors, he's supposed to consult with them. So that's the only thing I got for you. Just make sure that if you're a young player out there, make sure that no matter what you have that was given to you, even if it was given to you for the right reasons, make sure you check with somebody on the team that works for the logo to make sure that they have checked all the guidelines and all the rules to make sure there's nothing in there that you can make an error with. But, PG, you know how to be a professional.
There is some ramifications here. And I know when the suspension came out, everybody was thinking, well, how does it impact Paul George not playing right now? To set the stage a little bit here, the 76ers were $7.1 million over the luxury tax. Because he is suspended, they get a 50% tax variance credit, we call, of the amount that's suspended. So it's basically 5.8, 5.9 million. So now instead of 7.1, all of a sudden you're $1.3 million above. You could go a lot of different options with that, Brian. You could try to go cost cutting and maybe get that tax distribution, $14 million, or...
So the other day, Joel Embiid, after his 36-point game was like, well, the last couple years I was hurt and we ducked the tax. We made moves at the deadline to get under the tax. And they certainly could do that, Bobby. But I think Embiid brought that up, not even knowing that Paul was going to get suspended, that he'd like to see them add. And when you've got a $6 million unexpected savings, couldn't you roll it into maybe a couple of $1 million to help the roster, especially with them playing so well right now?
And the East up for grabs, if we're being
Exactly.
honest. So, all right, huge matchup this weekend with Open Black History Month with the inaugural NBA Pioneers Classic between the Bucks and the Celtics. The game honored the league's first black players, Chuck Cooper, Nathaniel Sweetwater Clifton, and Earl Lloyd, who were all in attendance to watch the Celtics beat the Giannis-less Bucks. Jaylen Brown led the way with 30 points and 13 rebounds, and now has a career-high 26th 30-point game this season. The Bucks fell to 3-14 without Giannis in the lineup this season as he continues to deal with a right calf injury. The pace would have them at the bottom of the league. His coach, Doc Rivers, was a guest on Countdown yesterday and had this to say about Giannis' potential return to the Bucks despite all the trade talk.
Giannis has said everything that we need to hear, that he wants to be a Buck, he loves the city, and that's all I can go by as a coach right now. Giannis is going to play. I think Giannis is going to come back and play at some point. We just don't know when that point is. And then on the big picture of that, if he's here, then our job is to put the right people around him so he wants to stay here, and that's important. Giannis wants to be healthy. That's what he wants. He wants to get in the playoffs healthy, and he wants his team to be healthy. And I think that's what Giannis probably thinks right now.
Well, that's certainly hopeful thinking by Doc Rivers. We welcome in Shams Charania, our senior NBA insider. So, Shams, where do things stand with Giannis right now?
George, as of this weekend and going into Monday here, a few days out from the NBA trade deadline, the Bucks have been listening and engaged with interested teams, especially the teams that are aggressively pursuing Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they have started making counteroffers to the aggressive proposals made. Look at teams like Miami, Golden State, New York, and Minnesota as the most serious suitors. Giannis has been ready and is prepared for a trade, whether it's at the deadline or in the offseason. But the big thing now, before Thursday, is will a team hit the Milwaukee Bucks' price threshold? That's been indicated to me as a young blue-chip talent and or a surplus of draft picks. They have between now and Thursday to see, can someone reach that plateau? And if not, you run the risk-reward of going into the offseason when more picks could become available. But that is when Giannis will essentially be entering an expiring year on his deal that will give him a little bit more ability to dictate and determine where he could end up. But there's no doubt, George, this is what the entire NBA is waiting on. This is a massive domino because Giannis has an impact not only on the four teams most seriously pursuing him, but then a layer of other teams and other deals as well.
Yeah, could be a lot of teams facilitating potentially in that scenario. Shams, don't go anywhere, man. Thanks for the info as always, though. Appreciate it. All right, speaking of Giannis, now on ESPN.com, our NBA insiders laid out 6 potential trades for Giannis with Thursday's deadline looming. All right, so the Warriors, the Knicks, the Heat, the Wolves, the Sixers, and Cavs are all detailed in the article. Shump, I'll ask you this. What team interests you out of those?
You know, I had my dreams and I had my thoughts. And then Brian goes out and says that the Warriors could potentially get him as far as what they have going on. And I want to see it. I'm not one of those guys that's like join forces and move him to go over here. I love the loyalty that's involved in the NBA. I love the rivalries. I love that. But I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm not going to be a fan.
Right.
But I want to see it.
Okay, fair enough. Now let's talk to Bobby and check in on how that could actually happen if it indeed were the case.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's actually probably the cleanest trade out there where it's only 2 teams with Golden State and Milwaukee. And remember, Giannis is making $54 million, so you've got to have the money matched. This is a second apron team right below it. I know Mike Dunleavy Jr. has said no Jimmy Butler, unlikely. If you're going to do the math, it's either Butler or Draymond Green in this situation. We're going to put Jimmy Butler in there. And then you add a player like Jonathan Kuminga. Salary purposes, we're adding Kyle Kuzma. Now, here's Shams was saying as far as the surplus of draft picks, 26, 28, 30, and 32. First-round picks, potentially 4. They also have swaps there. When you do a type of deal like that, that actually works.
Wow.
And as you could see, it's really, these are 4 unprotected first-round picks when possibly Steph Curry is no longer on the roster. It sounds great for Giannis in Golden State. It is certainly a significant risk going there. And if you're Giannis, you're saying, well, who else am I playing with besides Steph Curry?
Wendy?
some of these teams who can make these offers can improve their offers over the summer. Like the Heat can offer more draft picks. The Wolves can offer more draft picks. The Knicks can offer more draft picks. This is the most the Warriors can offer. The Warriors have the incentive to do the deal now. Also, you don't know how many postseasons you're going to get left with Steph. You want to get as many as possible. So to maximize your return on this, you want it now. The Warriors are highly incentivized more than any of these other teams to try to close this week.
Now, Bobby, there's been a lot of chatter online linking Giannis to the Bulls. What would a trade like that look like, and how could it even happen?
Well, Chicago has 8 players on expiring contracts. So if you're looking at it, certainly with Giannis, but then also you have players like Josh Giddey, Nikola Vucevic, who's on an expiring, Kevin Huerter. Here's the one thing that Chicago has also. They've got draft picks. They've got their own 4 in the next 7 years. They also have a pick from Portland here. I think if you're a team like Chicago or any of these teams that we have not heard about that have all these assets, it's kind of like in-house recruiting. You go out and you trade for the player, and in the next 4 or 5 months, you try to recruit him to stay and sign that long-term extension. It is a significant risk to do that. We did it when I was in New Jersey with Darren Williams. We traded for him. There was no assurance that he could stay. You make some trades, high-risk trades. It costs you certainly down the road here, but certainly Chicago, just because they have 8 expiring contracts, and as we said, they do have a young player like Josh Giddey in the mix there.
All right, fair enough.
Hey, man, I don't know if it happens, but we'll take him in Chicago. We'll take him.
He has had some chatter in the past. There's been some stuff, though, around Chicago.
And what you're referring to as online is the prediction markets. Sometimes they know Bobby and I are not aware of this, but the prediction markets are hot on the Bulls right now.
We can't present better weather. The weather's similar. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's only a 70-minute drive.
Oh, but it's a very nice city, though. Beautiful city.
All right, let's stick with the trade theme here as the countdown is on. We're still getting close here. Under 72 hours away from the deadline. And the moves are already being made. The Cleveland Cavaliers traded away DeAndre Hunter to the Kings for Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. The Hawks also traded guard Vit Krejci, to the Blazers for Dwap Heath and 2 future second-round picks. So with the trade season kicking off this weekend, it's only right to check the temperature throughout the rest of the league with our favorite meteorologist, Brian Windhorst.
All right, let's start what you just mentioned there. Let's start in Cleveland, where the weather is also not good this time of year, Shump, but that's okay. Obviously, the Cavs make this move with the Kings and the Bulls. They are on the market for making another deal. Now, it may be as simple as trading Lonzo Ball, who now is an extra piece that they've traded for Dennis Schroeder, so that they can open up a roster spot for Naquan Tomlin, their two-way guy. Or it may involve trading one of their core pieces, which they have absolutely tried to tell everybody they don't want to do over the last couple of years. I think the key is they don't seem to be in love with their chances right now. That's what I think to take away from it. Let's go farther north to Minnesota, the upper Midwest. What do you want me to say? Okay, they are in the game for Giannis. And unlike some of these other teams, that may not be as aggressive, when Sham says an aggressive team, he's talking about the Wolves, because they're out there recruiting 3rd and 4th teams to try to improve their offer to see if they can get Giannis. If they don't, which I think it's a long shot, you could see them looking at making a backup deal with a guard. Okay, let's come out here where it's warmer right now, down the road in Inglewood, the LA Clippers. The Clippers have a bunch of expiring contracts. They have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA over the last 6 weeks. They could look to be a buyer at the deadline with some of their expiring money. They have set their team to have salary cap space in 2027. That means they could use some expiring money to try to add a piece to try to get out of the play-in zone. And the last place I want to talk about is Dallas. I am not going to talk about Anthony Davis. While I do think it is possible there could be something to develop between now and Thursday, Dallas is looking at other deals and thinking about Cooper Flagg in the future. They want to clear off some of the money they have committed next year so that they can rebuild around him. Look for them to make a deal or two non-Anthony Davis related to clear off future money by the end of the week.
All right, what do you think, gentlemen? Bobby?
Well, I think Dallas is certainly going to be a team to watch. This is a team that's going to be in the second apron next year, and I think if you can make some cost-cutting moves right now, basically get your finances in order and not wait until the offseason here.
Hey, man, I just want to make sure that we get to see this man playing Golden State. As long as I can see that.
That's all you care. Cooper Flagg followed up his career-high 49-point game by scoring 34 in a loss to the Rockets. That makes 4 straight losses for the Mavs. Head coach Jason Kidd has taken some criticism from using Flagg in the point guard role, and the topic came up again on Saturday.
Coach, you get a lot of national criticism for playing Flagg at point guard. But over the last 2 games,
I don't give the criticism, that's your opinion. You guys write that. That's not that. I've done this. I played this game. I played it at a very high level, and I know what I'm doing. But I don't give what you guys write, because you guys have never played the game. And so I've built players, so I know what I'm doing.
Okay then, coach. So Jay Kidd was fined $35,000 by the league for criticizing, officiating, and profanity there, as you can see. So, Bobby, what did you make of what Jay Kidd said?
I felt like I was back in the New Jersey and Brooklyn front office here. I mean, that is the pit bull I remember as a player for 7 years and as a coach for a year. And it felt like I was back in those personnel meetings when he was a coach. We were going over who should fit this roster. That's the Jason Kidd I know.
Hey, man, that's my favorite player growing up. I'm waving the flag because this is the Cooper flag for me right now. I'm going to wave it just because I did have questions about an early on thing of saying, why are you guys playing him at point guard? You know, it's out of position for him, and now I see he just wanted to force him into that rhythm, and I should have trusted him. He's my favorite guy. So my bad, Jay Kidd. 4 F-bombs, I counted.
Hey, it cost him.
We believe
it cost him
$35,000.
Yeah. Hey, man, sometimes you gotta pay what's due to make sure that your star feels that way.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so Flagg has brought the ball up on 17% of the Mavericks' possessions this season, second most on the team behind only Brandon Williams. Well, speaking of the Mavs, where were you 1 year ago today? Shams shocked the NBA world just after midnight on the East Coast with this tweet. The Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. As of today, it has over 115 million views. So Shams, take us back to that night. I know you and I have discussed this on the side too and on my radio show, but what stands out the most to you now looking back at all of this?
George, I don't think I've ever been as focused as to not having a typo in my life than I've been with that tweet. Because, that's the one thing that irks me with everything. But I was like, I can't have any issues with this tweet. And then the other thing, honestly, it took me 7 minutes when I got the first heads up on this and then to confirm it through 5 sources. And then I put it out. And then just how much my phone blew up to the point where literally I felt like it was malfunctioning. Like, I literally had hundreds of text messages, call upon, when you can't even look at your phone and open your home screen because you just have call after call because everyone had the same question. Like, is this real? Are you okay? Did your phone get hacked? Are you in trouble? Did someone take your phone? Like, the amount of questions, I think people felt concerned for my safety. I think people felt like I had been tampered with, but thankfully I was good. And I put up a follow-up tweet afterward. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure everyone's good. Everyone knows this is a real thing. And I think when I put out, yes, this is real, I think people felt even more so that I had been harmed or that something had happened. So.
Listen, I remember being on a plane to Milwaukee, and I was one of those probably thousands of people that texted me like, yo, you good? So I get it. So, hey, Shams, thanks for the time as always, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
This Saturday on ABC, we have 2 loaded games. KD and the Rockets in OKC taking on SGA and the Thunder. Then Luka, LeBron and the Lakers hosting Steph and the Warriors. NBA Countdown tips off our coverage at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. The WNBA and the WNBPA met earlier today in New York, taking steps towards a new collective bargaining agreement. This is the first in-person session involving players since October. Talks have been at a standstill. And the scheduled start of the 2026 season is roughly 3 months away. Alexa Philippou in New York covering this story for us from every angle. Alexa, what can you share about today's meeting?
Yeah, George, the players and the league met for about 3 hours today going into the early afternoon. The Players Association president, Nneka Ogwumike, did decline to comment on how those talks went, but I can tell you she was in attendance along with some other players, Alicia Clark, Brianna Turner, Stephanie Dolson, and there were a few league owners that were in attendance as well. Joe Tsai, Claire Wusai of the New York Liberty. This was a very pivotal meeting, as you were just saying, because it was the first opportunity for players and the league to really be face-to-face since the fall. And this comes at a time when talks have been at a standstill, and the players are trying to assess their next options right now. Whether or not a strike could be something that they would pursue. Remember, they got that strike authorization from the WNBPA player body back in December. And so the outcome of this meeting, whether or not the players felt it was productive, both the players that were here in person as well as those that were able to make it over Zoom, that will have a large bearing on their thought process for how to move forward and try to get a deal done soon.
All right, Alexa, thank you for the information. Here's a look at the West All-Star reserves, with LeBron James set to make his record 22nd appearance. Kevin Durant, his 16th, tied for 4th most in NBA history. They'll be joined by their Olympic teammates, Devin Booker and Anthony Edwards, while Murray, Holmgren, and Advia made their first team. The East reserves also includes a trio of first-time All-Stars in Norman Powell, Jalen Duren, and Jalen Johnson. Donovan Mitchell, meanwhile, is an All-Star for the 7th straight season. Shump, what was your biggest takeaway from the 2026 All-Star roster?
I'm happy that Jamal Murray got in there. I think he's played incredible, and he's had the resume to get in before and just didn't. But the snub this year, my boy Dylan Brooks should have got in there, man.
The villain?
Dylan the villain, man. Why y'all didn't let my boy in? I heard he was player of the week, huh? Ain't nobody else hear it? Pivot, shot, man. They said he couldn't shoot. He giving you the step back. He giving you back to the basket. He giving you everything you want to see, man, consistently. And he's on the other side of the floor making plays. I hate that he didn't see it, but I do know that this is all a good thing, because sometimes you need that snub. You need that motivation to come out there and do something, add something to your game. So I'm excited to see what he does next year.
Wendy?
Okay, so I'm not going to be the person who says that somebody got snubbed and then I don't say who should be taken off. I will just say that the reaction within the league has been kind of universal between the executives and I've talked to, which is Kawhi Leonard doesn't make the team. So, okay, that happens. Players get snubbed. Kawhi's numbers are phenomenal, but the game is obviously at Intuit Dome. And the wonder is, did he not make this team because the coaches didn't vote for him because of the accusations of the improper contract? So, like, he's having a brilliant season, his highest scoring season as a Clipper. They have been one of the best teams in the league for the last 6 weeks.
I would also add James Harden could have been a potential snub, too, for the Clippers.
True, but Harden doesn't have the same baggage.
No, agreed. But both could be said to be. Right. Now, Giannis will likely miss the game, I would imagine. So that means they'd have to replace someone that on the East side that would play for the World team, though?
That's correct. And, I mean, I think then that's going to be usually how it is that whoever had the highest among votes, that the coaches will get that selection. They don't make that public, so.
But they could make Karl Towns, he's played for the Dominican Republic, so they could say Karl Towns is an international player.
Right.
They could replace him with an Eastern Conference American.
Right, that's fair. Good way to make that work. Donovan Mitchell wanted to be on the World team. I saw he said that to Mark Spears on Anscape because he has Panamanian descent. So there could be some ways to make that happen. What happened, Shump? What happened, Shump?
Come on.
Why are you frying eggs over there?
Come on, Donovan. Come on, man. Stop doing that. Don't start that.
Listen, we may need Donovan in L.A. in 2028. Don't mess around with anything that could mess with your eligibility. That's not right.
All right, now what about LeBron? Okay, 22 straight, record-setting, and just what can you say? What more can you say?
First off, his numbers are very, very strong. Could you have made a case that you could put somebody else on, maybe even Kawhi? Sure, but it is only appropriate that LeBron is honored as an all-star. He has come back off of that sciatica and been able to play brilliantly. He's put together week after week of quality play, and the game's in Los Angeles. And so if you're not going to have a Clipper, might as well have another Laker. And, I'll tell you what, over the last couple of years, LeBron's roles in the All-Star game have been reduced by his own choosing. it wouldn't surprise me if he is a little bit more involved this year, just because, like with everything else, he doesn't know if this is the last one.
Yeah, we've been sitting here taking it with a grain of salt, and we've talked about how old LeBron is, and we've all got our laugh in and everything. But what we're about to see is every year LeBron gets ready for playoffs. He gets ready. He gets into a playoff form. He damn near will look at the playoff list and say, what number are we going to fall? What number should we fall? Who are we going to have first round? Who do I want to get out of the way? If you know that man still has that basketball mind, it is still fun for us to watch and say, hey, man, he's competing. He's not in the All-Star game just because he's LeBron and he's the face of basketball for so long. He's in there because he's actually still producing at age 41. We got to take the age out of it and just say, look at the numbers. His work says he's on the game, on the team.
I'm with you. He's balling out regardless of how you slice it, so there's no doubt. Hey, real quick, happy birthday to Elizabeth Buchheit, our production coordinator here. She does everything for us. She makes sure everybody here is squared away and taken care of. So we appreciate Elizabeth. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
For Wendy.